Welcome to Magnet Marketers, our weekly live show where we break down the head, heart, and hand approach to building sustainable growth in your business. During each episode, we share actual client marketing best practice examples, strategies, and tactics that will help you generate real results. Our belief? A magnet always works better than being a bullhorn to attract, retain, and build your brand. Ready to dive into this week's Relationship Marketing Training Tuesday? Well, let's get started. Here's your host, Mike Gingerich and Jessika Phillips. Yay. Hello, everyone. And welcome to this week Trading Tuesday Live for Magnet Marketers. Our goal is always to help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. And today we have a good topic right in time before all the holiday Black Friday shopping and all that comes around faster than we're ready for, I'm sure. But we're talking about a live video selling. So we have the perfect guest with us to dive into what's possible and where we're at today with it, because I think some of these stats and numbers are going to blow you away. But before we kick things off, a quick hello. If we've not met before, my name is Jessika Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. And my mission is to help you love more, give more, and be more through the art of authentic relating. And my awesome co-host, it's Mike Gingerich. Mike manages 3 blogs while running, biking, swimming, and traveling. Yeah, that's Mike. He does it all. Super active. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, Jessica. Doing well. Glad to be here. Excited for the show here. And yeah, it is that time of the year. What's up, Chad? What's up, man? Yeah, good to see you here. Hope you're doing well, feeling better, all that. But yeah, we talked about, the season. They're talking about one of my neighbors rolled out the Christmas blow up ornaments, things on the front porch, so and the snowman and Santa Claus. So it's coming. And what that means is shopping, right? And what that means is products. And we've got an excellent guest to tell us about that today. So we want to kind of dive into the niche. I mean, we've talked about live streaming and live video. But today, live selling specifically within all of that. And we've got a wonderful guest to do that for us. Jim Fuhs has been on the show before. He is the president of Fusion Marketing and does marketing the Marine Corps way. Jim's a retired Marine lieutenant colonel turned digital marketer. He's a consultant, speaker, live streamer, podcaster. Does remote live stream and virtual event production. He's got over 30 years of business and social media experience, and he fuses Marine Corps leadership with next level digital marketing. He's got 20 years of highly successful leadership experience in the Marine Corps that he brings to bear on the ever-changing world of marketing technology. And he's speaking my language because he recently completed the Marine Corps Marathon. So let's bring Jim in and get him started today. So Jim, excited to have you here, all that you bring. So welcome to our show today.
Yeah, great to be here. And just because I know I shared it with you guys earlier, but if everybody wants to see it, this is the marathon medal that I got for suffering, and I can get it to open up. Pretty cool. So the medals get better every year because it's the 3rd one I ran, and I did a post the other day. It kind of showed the evolution of the medals. But yeah, I love being here, love being with you guys, love Social Media Week Lima. Can't wait till June. It'll be here before you know it, right? We're already in November.
I know it is going to be here before you know it. And I just love the alignment of when guests come on, because this week is going to be Veterans Day at the end of the week, right? So like perfect time to have you on and just talking about, live video selling. And you have really, in my opinion, been one of the first people that kind of demonstrate this that I've seen in action in a way that it's really easy to understand. I know you were sharing with us some of the stats that I think will blow everybody's mind, but I would love to ask in the comments where you guys are watching from. Chrissy, your co-host for one of the shows that you do, Chris Stone, is in the house. Yes. Good to see you, Chris. But to just answer the question where you're watching in from, and if you have experienced live video selling, and it's a little bit different than QVC, I think to kind of kick things off, Jim, you were mentioning the difference between like live video selling and like a QVC. What do you feel like the difference is there? And then we're going to break down why this is so important with some of the stats that you shared.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things that, and this is when Chris and I started Dealcasters over 2 years ago, is we didn't wanna be that, we're like, "Hey, we're just gonna show you something, buy it now, here's the price, it's on great special." Because I think that kinda goes back to what you talk about with the shows, that seems more like the bullhorn approach, right?
There you
We
go.
wanna build that relationship with the people that watch our show, and, like Chris, I'm gonna give Chris credit for it, but I love it, and I told him I'm gonna start using it all the time, is we don't do live selling, we do live solving. Because when we talk about
I
things
like
on
it.
the show, whether it's, how to podcast, how to live stream, the gear you need, we're explaining to people how to go about that, and also being considerate of what they need, right? Like, not everybody needs this, whatever you want to call it, the amount of money I've spent on my setup, which has evolved over time, right? A lot of us started out with a webcam, or, we tell people you can start out with your smartphone and a lapel mic. You don't have to automatically go to these really expensive things, because I think what happens is that if you spend too much sometimes and you don't see immediate success, one, it puts you into a huge problem in regards to being able to maintain that, because some people are starting this when they're, maybe still working another job and they've got other bills to pay. And I don't think it's necessary to, get gas gear acquisition syndrome when you first get started. So when you think about marketing in general, we talk about things like YouTube, right? We are, all three of us here are problem solvers, right? We're solving problems for people. We don't necessarily say we're marketers. And so when people are searching on social, they're searching for a solution to their problem. So with live
Yes.
solving, right, we're doing it live to help people move forward in their journey. And sometimes they're going to find out, you know what, I don't need this. I need to go in a different direction. And that's okay with us. That really is. And I think that's where sometimes when you look at these people that are trying to truly just they sell because they want to return, on their quote unquote investment of being a live seller, they're not thinking of building the relationships first.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, no, I think this distinction is good. And okay, we got some stats coming in. 78% of businesses use live commerce to build deeper relationships with their customer base. Boom, there it is,
Mhm.
and how it does that. So we've got some we've got some others as it talks about this.
Yeah.
This is a newer kind of um, method of selling, but it's really connected and it's on an incredible growth curve.
Yeah.
Right, right. I mean, because if you think about it, and this is like the power specifically with Amazon, and I can also talk about kind of the pros and cons of some of the other platforms, is that people, when they go to Amazon, are ready to buy. They've already
Mhm.
given Amazon their credit card information. You even have the one-click button, which I'm always trying to make sure I've disabled in my browser settings, because all of a sudden I'll have bought something I didn't mean to. And even, Alexa can buy things for you, or your kids,
Yep.
without your knowledge. And so people are ready to buy, and so you're kind of sometimes making that final push for them to go across the goal line, where on other platforms, that's not necessarily what they went there to do. It's maybe more of a research mode. And so the thing about Amazon is, as far as the influencer side, there's only about 3,000 influencers, and I would tell you probably 80% of them are not active. But what Amazon is doing, and this is very important for brands, is they're really pushing that, hey, we want you to live stream as a brand. We want you guys to use video, because what they found in their data is that products with videos are 3
Mhm.
times more likely to convert to a sale and return wise than those
Yeah.
without. So, because those videos are answering the question of that potential consumer that, they don't always get by reading something. And even that visual demonstration can be very powerful.
Exactly, because I just think about things when you're looking at the flat photo and you see so many other photos like it. Like, it's easy to manipulate a photo too, that some people do, but a live video, you're seeing it in action, one. So even if it's, just fashion, which I know we have some stats on fashion here and the growth of that with live selling. And I've seen this in action where people are taking you through, showing you what it's like, how to pair things together, all of that. But even things like, a tool or a system, like showing it live, not only are you creating a more relatable experience that your customer can see it in action, the proof of how it's working, how it's looking, but also, as you mentioned really early on, answer some of those questions like, hey, do I need this for my setup? Like you were talking about with live video, or does it do XYZ? And it's more that immediate conversation problem solving, as you said, versus trying to go through all the Q&A at the bottom potentially, or read a description that maybe your answer hasn't even been, or question hasn't even been asked yet. But it's a way truly of engaging and really kind of leaning in to the sales process to be that solution provider for your customers. I watch those videos a lot when I'm looking to buy something, as well as just, learn more about what's out there. It's definitely more appealing than a flat image and some text, for sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I think that in and of itself is one of those key differentiators for some of these brands is like if they get out in front of it and or even as an influencer, if you get out and start thinking like, you know what, this is a product I really like and I can create some videos because what Chris and I will do is we'll look at the bottom of the page on an Amazon product page and you'll see like the top questions. And you're like, you know what? I can create a video that's going to answer this question. We create a thumbnail for it. And then when people are searching, like, oh, wow, there's the answer to my question. And so if we're the last person that, answers their question, they're going to make that purchase. And it's a win-win really for well, three parties, the seller, the consumer, and for us.
Absolutely. And because also even seen this with technology too, with screen sharing and how demonstrations can work on trying out a software, right? We've tried to incorporate more screen sharing even here into what we're doing, and going to be a lot more of that next year. So stay tuned for updates there. But you don't have to just think about it for clothing or apparel or that this is really opening up to, I've seen it with people providing a service right there, whether it's consulting, reviewing a website, whatever, and you pay so much money, and they're live selling kind of in that way. But this, as you're mentioning with like Amazon and some of the other tools that are out there, this is like next level, right? Shopping from home, the convenience of your home, and being able to really get educated on the purchases before you make it.
Well, and think about it. How many times do you get frustrated when you say, I'm actually going to go out and go to a brick and mortar and shop, and then they don't have what you wanted, and they might have it on their website, and you could have said, well, I could have just stayed at home and ordered it off their website. And so I think, yeah, for some people, they still want that, out in person thing. And I think there's a lot to it. Like, I don't know about you guys personally, whenever I go to a grocery store, I purposely go to the register where there's a person. Because one, I'm not getting paid to self scan, and two, I like to have a conversation with the checkout people because they're people too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, when somebody's thinking about, hey, how would I, um, what would I do for live selling? I mean, what are some things? Maybe you could talk about just past experiences, how you've demonstrated or something like that, to give some people some ideas around that.
Yeah, so one of the things that like Chris and I have done is we've started to do things like if you're going to live sell, and maybe it's a product as an example that wouldn't fit really well right here in this space. So you
Yeah,
go and kind of create some B-roll, maybe with a separate camera, a separate space, and then you can play that video and talk to it while you're going live, because maybe it's, as an example, 150-inch screen that you can project, use a projector on. Well, that's not going to look real well here even with an overhead camera. Overhead cameras can be great because then you can demonstrate, while you maybe have yourself in the corner, the item, and so people can get a really good look at it. So those have been good ways to do it. And then I think the other thing to consider is work with products that you like, right? I think one thing that is dangerous as a live seller is because some live sellers are really like, I want to find a company that's going to give me stuff for free because if I sell it, then I'm going to make money. But your reputation is also following this recommendation. And so I think, like for Chris and I, it's been very important to us that we won't work with just anybody, right? We say no more than we say yes. And that's led to us building relationships, right? That's the thing. Build relationships with these companies that you want to work with. And some of that is by, if you're already using it, right? Like we're all, going back to Jessica's example of, software as a service, we're all fans of Agora Pulse, right? So talk about Agora Pulse, share their content. And eventually they may say, hey, we notice that you're always promoting us and we would like to work with you further. And we've had that happen with some brands of, products that we were already using and paid for ourselves. And so I think that's another way to think about the live selling piece.
So what you're saying, it's not something that you have to offer. It doesn't have to be your potential product or service that you're providing as a business. You can think about this from the perspective of who could I co-create with potentially, or just like you said, be that solution provider. So like, for example, George here is saying, Jim's mic is amazing. I feel like he needs to do some ASMR with it. Ha ha ha. Well, what he's asking, he's talking about your mic right now. So this would be like that opportunity where you're like, hey, you know what? I actually do have a link to sell this mic as an affiliate. So what I was hearing you say is that you start out with some of the products you already love, you're using, you're confident in, that you feel like it would be a good solution and relatable to your community for the things that they're asking for and maybe need, you want to deliver, that you set yourself up as a live seller first, pick those products out, maybe even ones that you want to start promoting that you're not getting paid for yet, but by the fact of you promoting it, that it could open up that relationship door.
Exactly. Exactly. In fact, in case you're wondering, George, this is a Shure MV7X. And yes, I will admit that Shure provided this to me because that's one of the companies we built a relationship with is Shure as well as Heil. And so we are, working with them to promote their stuff. Why? But though, because we believe in it. And as you can see, it sounds really good.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, what stood out to me though is like when you're available, and so there's for others, and that's what we're talking about. So somebody listening here, they say, we may not have, we got the products, but we don't necessarily have the live selling setup, but they can, and Jessica mentioned it with co-create, you can find those experts that do the live selling, the influencer, that type of piece, to be able to partner with, to demonstrate, to what was that, live solve?
Yes. Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point, and I think this is where sometimes influencer marketing, as you guys know, gets a bad rap, is sometimes I think brands look to work with people that have big numbers as opposed to people that really love their brand. And I think that is a very important thing to consider because I would much rather, if I was in those shoes, work with somebody that actually uses my product, loves my product, would talk about it anyway. And I think we all run into that, right? How many times do you have a friend, a family member, business colleague says, "Hey, I need a good camera," or "Hey, I need this or I need that." And what you use, would say, "Hey, what is it you use?" And like Jessica said, I can just provide them an affiliate link and they can go buy it. And if they want to go buy it somewhere else, that's okay too. But I've helped them solve their problem. And then they're going to remember that later and come back when they have other questions, especially if it's an area that, you're looked at as an expert in.
Amen. Because you can feel the difference between somebody that's passionate about something versus somebody that's been hired to like pose with it pretty, right? Plus, you're going to be able to answer those questions when it's live. It's engaging. It's, you're providing that feedback, and somebody that's used something can, intelligent, like actually answer the questions intelligently because of having experience with it, and really be trusted then to provide that solution versus just, again, somebody that's posing with something, but then next week's photo you see them using a different tool. It doesn't look very good. And we've talked about this even before with like relationship marketing, and I know you believe this too, Jim and Mike, is that when we already have the community, just like you were saying, that's passionate about us, that's using our service, that is actively engaged in what we're doing and believe what we believe, if we can empower them to do more, it actually is going to have a bigger reach than just paying for an influencer. It's kind of you're building the influence because of somebody that really loves working with you, and they already have that trusted built-in community as well, right? Like that's going to buy into it. And it's a longer end game of how to share things out, but it's the one that works. And like, again, Agora Pulse does a great job at this. There's many other organizations that are really paying attention to that too, and rewarding people that are sharing their products and service.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going back to your earlier point is, brands are kind of struggling. Like, where do I find people? And one of the things that Amazon has actually just announced at their Unboxed conference is they have this thing called Amazon Creative Services. So they're really looking to work with these brands to up their level, because I think what Amazon sees, and I'm not, an employee of Amazon in any way, shape, or form, right? We're just have that relationship as really an affiliate, you could say, is it's user-generated content, right? It's stuff that it becomes, is more believable because it's being done by someone that, knows what they're talking about, likes it, because like Chris and I joke, you're not going to see us, at least not at this point, doing fashion and makeup, because that's not us, right? But you will see us talking about tech and things around the home, because we're parents, and and we have partners and things of that nature, and so there's things we use in our house. I love coffee. I have no problem talking about good coffee makers, and and things of that. Or if you go camping, things you can use when you're outdoors. Now that it's getting cold, maybe you talk about things you can use outside to keep warm. And I think the other thing that people don't always consider is you can be in a niche. I don't know if you guys have met Geraldine Wilkins. She's an amazing woman, and she does a show about quilting, because guess what? All that quilting stuff is available on Amazon. And so you can really sit there and talk about the things that you're passionate about. There's people doing, book author interviews. Now, I do want to bring this up, because I think this is where sometimes the other platforms are, brought up, like, oh, well, you can live sell on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. But what they don't have that Amazon has, and this is something you need to think about, it's the logistics channel, right? When I go to Amazon, everything is taken care of, order processing, shipping, receiving. If I don't like it, easy to return. But if I'm going somewhere else, if I'm going to YouTube, if I'm going to Facebook, where is that being fulfilled? And is that level of trust there? Like there, because I think we all trust Amazon, which may in some cases sound a little crazy, more so than we would do, like, oh, do I really want to give my credit card to Facebook? Do I really want to give my credit card to YouTube to make a purchase? And a lot of times these YouTubers are actually using a link to Amazon to make that final purchase. So I think it's interesting to see how that's all going to evolve. But Amazon already has such a big lead, and I find it funny that I think TikTok is going to try to take on Amazon, but I'm not really sure how that's all going to work.
No, I liked what you said though. You mentioned this earlier though, that people are coming to Amazon really with a intent to buy, and so some of the other platforms maybe not so much as that. They could be on there for another purpose and catch the live or something like that, where Amazon, yeah, I mean, pretty much there's already intent. There's a problem that they want to solve. They're on there to look for it.
Right. And I think too, as we approach the holidays, right? And this is where, as a live solver, we literally see in like last year when we went live on Black Friday, and in 1 hour show, we had 10,000 viewers in 1 hour. Right. I know there's a few people on YouTube and stuff, but they're usually talking about like pop culture, things like that can get those sort of live streams going. But I've never really seen that on other platforms. But because people are going to be there the day after Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday and all during the weekend, because they're going to be looking for deals. And boom, all of a sudden they see your live show and they're like, oh, this person's talking about the product that I'm thinking about buying. You really can help a lot of people out, and it really is. It's I think it's a great way to build relationships, because then these people can also follow you and get notified when you're going live again, and you're building that trust that I think is so important as a live solver.
I love that. And I think it's really important for people to understand, like you said, live solving. I think that's really, really it, because then it opens up the window on what can be provided, and how you approach what you're offering, and how you are approaching just showing up on live. So you don't feel like you have to be salesy, a QVC person that's got like Vanna White skills and all the things, right? You just are showing up to answer the questions that you know, and talk about why you like the product, what it does, how it works, that kind of thing. By the way, if you're watching in with this live, or even the replay, and you want a recap of this with the breakdown of how to get into live selling, why it's something that you need to potentially consider for your business, or something as an add-on, or just to understand what's going on with it, type the word recap if you're watching on Facebook, and the other channels. If you type the word recap, we will make sure you get the link, but this will be sent into your inbox for the recap of today's show, and you can find out more about Jim. I'd love to link to your show on Amazon that you do as well. Maybe you can tell everybody a little bit about that and how they can find it.
Yeah, we actually make it really easy. The power of redirects, Dealcasters, and actually we're going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. And you just go to dealcasters.live. If you want to see our Amazon shop page, you just go to dealcasters.shop, and would love if people want to follow us. Just head to that. And because it also goes back to, you got to make things easy for people, and that's something that Chris and I are very passionate about. And so we learned about this whole redirect thing. So instead of using a bit.ly link, or, Amazon has this huge URL to find things. And I kind of always joke, is like, you lost me at the slash. I can't always keep up with all those things. So we just make it easy by using redirects. And I think that's something that even when you think, which is kind of nice as an example right now, YouTube, we have handles. So we're even out there. So if you just go to, at Dealcasters, you'll find us on YouTube now. So, those are some of the things, right? This thing is constantly evolving, and I think it's something we all have to be aware of, because I sure as heck didn't think 2 years ago that I would be talking about live solving, but here I am.
And it's cool. So you can watch it in action tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, right? Standard time.
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
8 p.m. I'm sorry. 8
Okay.
p.m. Or you can just come early, just browse around, and then wait around.
That's right. Do some shopping while you're there, while you're waiting.
Yeah. We said 'tis the season, right? Get some things saved in your cart, and get that list started for Christmas. But 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, if you want to see it live in action, dealcasters.live. I'll make sure to put the link. I did put it in the comments here, and we will have it in the recap. Again, type the word recap in the chat here. You'll get recap of today's blog, where to find Jim, examples of the live solving. Now I'm going to be saying that. And why it's important. I love that analogy. It really does change kind of how you perceive it. So, yeah, Jim, where's the best place to find you? Is it the link there, dealcasters.live, or is there anywhere else that?
Well, my two favorite platforms are LinkedIn. You can just find me, Jim Fuhs, and then also Twitter. I'm still out there. I know some people are leaving, but I'm out there on Twitter at Fusion Marketing, but marketing is MKTG, because they didn't give me enough letters. And I am trying to do more on Instagram, also at Fusion Marketing. But yeah, I love being on LinkedIn, because I'm a business person. I like to work with other businesses, and I really like the things that LinkedIn has been doing with the platform, as I'm sure our friend Judy Fox talks about all the time, and learned a lot from her at People of Video and some of the things that they've rolled out.
She's great. Yeah. So many good experts. We had Vivica on a few weeks ago, and yeah, I'm excited. She's coming to Social Media Week Lima as well. Hopefully you are too, Jim.
I am. I plan to.
Okay, good. We'll have to break down even more live solving there. So you guys want to learn about that, sociallima.com. We have an amazing lineup that is now being put out here shortly of our first round of speakers. Also some cool new things that we'll be discussing shortly with Social Media Big Lima, which is a 2-day immersive event with all day one, the topic at hand and how to prepare you for the future of marketing. And day 2 is getting hands-on with how to do the thing. How to do the thing to get started right away. So join us at sociallima.com to find out more and to get your early bird ticket before the end of the year. But Jim, as always, thank you so much for joining us. You're always just a wealth of information and just good people. I love following you online and just you always have a smile on your face. So it's good.
Well, why wouldn't I smile when I'm around people like you? So
see, this is why we love Jim. All the compliments too. No, Jim, you're the best. And Mike, thank you so much as well. Any finishing thoughts, Mike, before we close it out?
No, definitely. People got to check out dealcasters.live and start taking a peek at this live solving.
Yeah, we're going to start a new hashtag live solving, everyone. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us this week. We'll be back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, check out Dealcasters, and we will see you back here next week. Bye, everyone.